Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Ethereum. Final accumulation? If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. Ethereum has been moving sideways, more or less, for a year. And I've read some of the comments beneath some of the prior videos that are not super happy with the idea of expressing a sideways movement as being between, say, a $2,000 ETH up to a $4,000 ETH, or a $7 ETH up to a $14 ETH. But the thing is you have to accept that accumulation ranges or reaccumulation ranges can span these 2x moves if you're going to be in an asset class that can also give you 4,000 to 5,000% moves in a year. Okay, so it does seem a little silly to say that no, reaccumulation range can't be between a 2 to 4k ETH or back over here $7 to $14 ETH. Can't be like that. That's not a reaccumulation range. It is if you think about a 4,000 to 5,000% move as something that preceded it. It does make a lot more sense, I think. So you're basically watching the market get accustomed to the new normal. And it takes a while for the market to get accustomed to the new normal. What happens when the market doesn't get accustomed to the new normal? You don't see a sideways range like this. You don't see a sideways range like this. What do you see? You just see a downtrend, okay? And that is not what we've experienced. We've not just experienced some persistent downtrend as if we were following what happened in 2018. If we were, then Ethereum would already be at $500, right? But it's not. It's not at $500, right? We're at over $3,000. To me, as I've said before, this move most likely, it feels the most similar to what happened in 2016. So basically, this move. And zooming in to what happened in 2016, if you sort of shift the downtrend and overlay it, I mean, it's so far it has been a pretty good match. Now, does it have to stay that way? No, it does not have to stay this way forever. There's a number of things that Ethereum could do, right? It could continue just going sideways for a while. It could break down and then come back up and then rally, or maybe it will follow the fractal and start trending higher. But the point is you should not be deterministic about what has to happen, but just to say we're using this as a guide to try to understand how market participants felt in the past. I experienced the market over here. And I'll tell you, as I said in the last Ethereum video, when Ethereum was trending down right here, and we went back to $7 for like the third time that year, look, I thought there was a good chance it was just going to come back down because it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. The reason it didn't really make a whole lot of sense is, Bitcoin at the time was going up. Okay, like Bitcoin at this same time, if I can actually get this to work, during that late 2016 time period, Bitcoin was going up. So I was definitely having a lot of second thoughts about Ethereum at the time because we're just okay, well, Ethereum's just going down, Bitcoin's going up. What's going on? There was always a chance that Ethereum could have just done this, and it didn't. Right? It did continue to rally. So today, sort of in a similar type thing, at least happening over a very similar time frame. Peak, bottom, move back up, slow bleed back down, and then we are hopefully en route to coming back up now, right? It all depends on how you shift this thing. Before we continue on, I wanted to remind you this is the last day to get the new Into the Cryptoverse NFT that we launched, bullish with a couple panda bears. Whatever's not gone by tomorrow, we'll just burn the rest of them. If you hold this one and the other one we launched, the No Retreat, No Surrender one, on May 3rd in the same address, then you can claim a third one for free. The other one has sold out, but you can always get it from someone else, I suppose. The other one has sold out, so we have sold out of the other one. This one still remains if you want to pick one up. The whole idea is I'm a Bitcoin and Ether bull with a couple of panda bears next to me. Okay, so the reason we've talked about Ethereum and the idea that it's a long reaccumulation range is not just in the context of looking at what Ethereum's done in the past. And this was a comment I read on the last video that someone had a hard time understanding. It's like, well, just because it happened over here doesn't mean it has to happen over here. And they're right, right? They're right. But the reason I'm inclined to believe that it will ultimately head higher is looking at the market cycle ROI, not for Ethereum, but for Bitcoin. And coming to the conclusion or developing the thesis that the cycle should theoretically lengthen if history is any indication. Okay, there's no guarantees that it has to lengthen, but if history is any indication, then the cycle should theoretically lengthen. So if the market cycle for Bitcoin is going to lengthen over the next, 12 months, 18 months, whatever it ends up being, and we do get some blow off top later on, then it would seem like there is a good possibility that Ethereum would also eventually break out of this long reaccumulation zone that has basically just been between 2 and 4K. All right, so between 2 and 4K is the reaccumulation zone, in my opinion. Now, if we break out of that and head higher, that's when things can get somewhat crazy. And look, there's no guarantees we ever come back to these prices again if we go higher. All right, I mean, we could, but whenever we broke out from here, we never revisited these prices. We during the last cycle, we went sideways here, and then we went sideways for half a year over here. And then when we did have a long bear market, we sort of went in between. Like we went below this reaccumulation phase, but above this one. So if we were to just sort of dubiously speculate here on what that could mean, but to say we're going to take this in a more modified version and not assume, we're not going to sit here and assume that we're going to see the same type of gains. But let me actually carry that out through the bear market. But if we were to see something like this, which it wouldn't play out, and then we're going to shrink it, okay? Because we know it's not gonna. We know if I can shrink it, we know it's not going to play out in the exact same way. Of course, it might not actually be possible to really deal with this thing on this long or this sort of a time period. But let me just draw if it plays out. So if we do sort of come out of this downtrend or something, let's say by the summer, and we come back up to the prior all-time highs, and then Ethereum breaks out and we start trending higher, maybe we get up to the $7,000 to $8,000 level, and then we have to go sideways there for half a year through the end of 2022 or something. And then if it breaks out into some final market cycle peak like that, then perhaps this downtrend will end somewhere below a potential reaccumulation range over here, but above where we currently are. This would just be if it repeats what happened last time. Okay, I mean, this would just simply be if it repeats what happens last time. If we go parabolic immediately and we don't get another reaccumulation range after this, like if we just go say like straight up and do something like that, then there's a good chance we could come back down to these levels. And then furthermore, if we do something like this where we hope we go higher and then we don't, and then we come back down and do something like that, then you're just talking about a very long reaccumulation range that is much longer than what we experienced in the past, and therefore you need to be completely open, regardless of whether that happens or not. But you need to be completely open to it going on some type of a different path. So if you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Remember, we do have the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com, and also check out the Into the Cryptoverse NFT bullish with a couple panda bears. We'll leave a link to that in the description below and in the pinned comment if you want to pick one up. Any not gone by tomorrow will be burned. Thank you for tuning in, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.